Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about the possibility of the imminent increase in filing fees for USCIS applications. Why is it happening? How much is it really going to go up? And how is all of this going to affect you? Hi, I'm Andrea Chev, and I'm the managing attorney at Chev Law Group in Los Angeles, California. I've been doing immigration for almost 20 years, and I put together a series of videos to give you reliable, easy to understand, straightforward information on all types of immigration issues. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe. In fact, hit it right now, and don't forget to hit that bell right next to it that notifies you every time a video comes out. Now let's get into it. So USCIS has asked Congress for emergency funding of $1.2 billion. Now this happened a little while ago, and you can't forget to watch the video that I already did on this in detail called USCIS Going Bankrupt. Please take a look at that for all the little nitty-gritty details with regard to that request by USCIS to Congress of the $1.2 billion. Now we are a few weeks later, we're still waiting on the results of that funding package, and USCIS is now coming out and saying, look, if you don't give us that money, we're going to have to start furloughing our employees. Furloughing at large amounts, 70% of our staffing. How did we get here? Did this happen because of COVID-19? No, it didn't happen because of COVID-19. And we have evidence of that because back in November, they were already proposing fee increases because they were running into a deficit in funding. I think that COVID-19, though, kind of put them over the edge and made them realize that they could not survive without extra funding. Now, how did we get to this point? Because 3 years ago, USCIS was sitting at a surplus. And now 3 years later, they're sitting at such a deficit that they're going to have to furlough almost 70% of their staff. So how did that happen over the last 3 years? Well, I'll tell you how that happened. Over the last 3 years, there's been an increase in policies and procedures put on the back of USCIS by the administration. The increase in amount of interviews that are being done and required, the amount of interviews that are done for categories that were not even being interviewed before, like employment-based categories or certain family-based categories. The public benefits rule, which is a rule that was put into place just in February, that calls for a substantial amount of evidence being presented by applicants for green card applications that would require a significant amount of time by officers to review that documentation to decide if they actually qualify or not under this public benefits rule when they're applying for residency. So all these little policies, and there's many, many more that have been put in place over the last 3 years, has put a substantial burden on USCIS to be able to accomplish with the same funding and the same staffing that they had before. So it only makes sense that if you put more policies, more procedures, more time that's required per application, then it's going to cause more time by the officers and more need to hire more officers, causing possibly slowly more of a deficit in the actual budget that was set years ago. Now, have there been, maybe misuse of time, maybe inefficiencies within USCIS? Absolutely. Do those need to be looked at? Absolutely. Before all this $1.2 billion goes in their hands, they should really look across their whole platform and make sure that they tighten up the policies, the procedures, the efficiency in how they're carrying them out, how many employees they actually need. Could they maybe cut down on certain parts of USCIS and increase in other parts to be more efficient and make better use of the funding that they get? Absolutely. But here we are, and what are we going to do as individuals or companies that are applying for applications now? And how is this going to affect us? Well, it's going to affect us by twofold. One, it's going to affect us with an increase in fees because that's imminently coming. There's no way, I don't think we can get around it. The increase in fees is going to happen because the majority of the costs and expenses of USCIS are paid for through your fees. The fees that you pay to apply for applications is what basically keeps USCIS going. So if they can't just ask for $1.2 billion and not also increase the fees, and especially if they don't get the $1.2 billion, they're going to have to increase the fees because there's no way for them to survive without those fees. Now that's one thing that's going to happen. The second thing is clearly processing is going to slow way down. So if we're furloughing 70% of USCIS employees starting in August, then what's going to happen to the processing of all those applications that those people were actually doing? They're going to disappear, and it's going to slow way down. So it's going to be extremely detrimental to all the applicants that are in the queue right now and that are going to file applications in the coming months. So it's not really a good situation. It would be better maybe if they did get their funding right, and it would be better if we didn't have to have fees increased. So we'll see what happens, because if we ended up having a furlough of 70% of USCIS employees, an increase in fees, and slow processing, I don't know who the winner in all that is, honestly. I don't know who wins that scenario. So that's where we are right now. Now, what are those increase in fees? Well, the proposal was put back in November, and it was actually presented in May, the end of May, for final determination. So we're still waiting to see what's going to come out of that. But I should never say guarantee, right? Because I don't have a crystal ball and I can't determine everything that's going to happen. But if I look at the facts in front of me, and you're looking at them too with me, I guarantee that there's probably going to be some kind of increase, right? Now, some of the increases are extremely high. For example, the N-400, which is the immigration application for naturalization, for becoming a citizen. Right now, it's at $460 if you want to apply. They're going to increase it, or they're proposing to increase it to $1,170. And I'm looking at my notes, that's why I'm looking up. So I get the number right. 84% increase. 84% increase. That's crazy. From $640 to $1,170 to apply for citizenship is insane. I mean, that's a huge increase. That's one of the biggest increases. Some of the other ones are, which I'm going to look right here, an H-1B I-129 application is going to go from $460 to $560. That's about a 22% increase. An O visa application from $460 to $715, which is about a 55% increase. That's a pretty big increase too for that one. Removal of condition application. So if you have a green card and has a condition on it and you have to file to remove the condition, is going to go from $595 to about $760. That's about a 28% increase. So we're looking at pretty steep increases. I mean, when you're talking about 20-30% increases, that's pretty steep increase for people that are applying for these applications. But the biggie is obviously the N-400, the naturalization applications. So my advice to you in the middle of this video is you apply immediately. If you are filing for citizenship and you're able to apply for it immediately. Because according to USCIS, they're prioritizing naturalization applications right now anyway. If you've seen one of my other videos who talked about all the policies and procedures of them coming back after COVID, they are prioritizing N-400 applications. Therefore, make sure that if you are able to apply for an N-400, that you apply now. So if you can apply for citizenship, I suggest you do it immediately, because not only will the fees be less and you can catch it before they increase if they do, but also, since it's one of the applications that's being prioritized right now, you want to slide in under that too. And for a bonus, we have an election coming up. So if you can get naturalized before the election in the fall, then you're even better off. So then at least you can participate in the election process. Well, I really hope this video gave you some good information and background and facts on what it is right now, the situation with USCIS, with the possible increase in fees that are coming, and hopefully not a furlough causing even more delays than we're already seeing already. So fingers crossed that things move in the right direction and fees are not needed to be increased. That's my dream, right? That USCIS gets their funding, or gets some portion of their funding to keep everyone employed, and then find more efficient ways to work and not have to increase your fees. Hope you all have a great rest of your day or evening or morning, wherever you are in the world, and look forward to seeing you all next time.